everyone, and welcome to episode number 2 of Retro-Aero's Hangar Hangout. I'm your host, Captain Dale. This special episode is being brought to you by Tailwheel Academy. If you're in the need to learn the skills to stay alive while flying, a spin endorsement, tailwheel endorsement, or need a tailwheel ferried somewhere within the United States, call 1-888-TW-PILOT. This special edition is being recorded from Bogota, Colombia, South America. This episode isn't going to follow our normal format, as a NTSB report led to an aha moment that I wanted to share with all of you. Recently, the NTSB released their final report on a near mid-air collision between a JetBlue E190 and a Lear 60 up in Boston, Massachusetts. One of the more interesting aspects of the report is the NTSB released a still photo taken from a video being recorded by the jump seater on the JetBlue aircraft. This photo shows just how close the near midair was between JetBlue and the Lear 60. Now, several other podcasts have analyzed the situation, taken a look at the NTSB report, and I haven't had the opportunity to read it just yet. But the reason I'm recording this particular podcast is because it led to an aha moment for me. One of the issues I haven't seen discussed on other podcasts is exactly the role of the JetBlue pilots in this near midair. Now, there's no question that the Lear 60 pilots made a mistake. They were not cleared for takeoff, and they went rolling down the runway, assuming they had been cleared for takeoff. However, one of the common errors that I see with all the students I've flown with, everything from first officers at the Legacy to teaching private pilots to commercial pilots to ATP pilots. Once we're cleared to land, we tend to focus in on the runway we're landing on, and that to the exclusion of nothing else. We tend to hyperfocus. Once we've been cleared to land, that means that ATC has taken care of us, nobody should be crossing our runway or on our runway, and we can focus on making sure we do a smooth and gentle landing for our friends, family, and passengers. When I'm not flying for a Legacy, I'm flying out of a small general aviation airport in South Florida, where there are numerous flight schools. As a consequence, pilots will be making mistakes. They're in training. ATC controllers will also be making mistakes. Because of that, we've developed at our local airport the simple philosophy that was espoused by Ronald Reagan during the 1980s. He said, trust but verify. Even if ATC clears you to land, you still verify that the runway environment is clear, that there are no other aircraft on your runway, or no aircraft are about to take off on a crossing runway. In the incident that occurred in Boston, one of the questions I'd like to see answered that really hasn't been addressed, as far as I can tell, is what was the role of the JetBlue pilots in Boston? What I'd like to know is, how did the JetBlue pilots not see the Learjet rolling down the runway long before it crossed theirs? Why did they not see the Learjet moving? Why did the jump seater, who was recording and videotaping, not say something sooner so that the JetBlue pilots could take evasive action? The fact is, we're human, and the airlines have started to recognize that no matter how well you train, as humans, we're going to make mistakes. The important thing is to trap those errors. Although the Lear 60 pilots made a mistake, why didn't the JetBlue pilots capture that mistake? Why didn't the barrier of their situational awareness prevent that from being so close? Maybe there was extenuating circumstances, maybe they were being distracted, but there were 3 pilots in that JetBlue aircraft who didn't recognize that another aircraft was about to cross their runway until it was almost too late. Perhaps they should have noticed something was awry much sooner, but perhaps they could not have. What we don't know from the NTSB report and from all the podcast analysis is exactly what happened there. Why wasn't the error trapped? This is in no way, shape, or form meant to throw shade on the JetBlue pilots, but rather to analyze the situation to see why a barrier, your fellow professional colleagues and pilots, didn't trap a mistake that was made until it was almost too late. And more importantly, if a set of pilots had noticed the Learjet rolling erroneously and had executed a go-around at a much sooner time, then this would not even have made the news or the NTSB, or in fact, no one would ever have known about it. Pilots who may have trapped the error of the Lear 60 pilot and who would have gone around at a much earlier time would never have made the news. We would never have known about it. Fortunately, within the safety industry, there are more and more people starting to realize that there are a lot more pilots doing right things than there are pilots doing wrong things. As a consequence, more and more studies are looking at what pilots do on a daily basis that prevent this sort of situation that occurred in Boston. We are finally starting to realize within the industry it's not just enough to learn what not to do, but we need to learn what to do. And we can only learn what to do by watching those who do it right and capture errors early. There's an old joke in aviation that no matter who your flight instructor is, you can learn something from them. Sometimes it's what to do, and sometimes it's what not to do. In the past, we have focused too much on what not to do and not enough on what to do. Fortunately, that's starting to change. So my aha moment that I wanted to share with all of you was that we focused on at what went wrong and not what should have gone right or what could have been done to prevent it from even being an incident. I would certainly like to hear more from the Jetblue pilots, from their perspective, what they did. Why didn't they capture the error of the Learjet pilots sooner? What could we have done as pilots to capture it earlier? And that leads to my aha moment. My aha moment is something simple, that once we're cleared to land, we all have a tendency to focus in on our runway. We all need to increase our situational awareness. Just because we're cleared to land doesn't mean we are safe to land. No matter what the actual circumstances were up in Boston, it's a reminder that not to simply trust. We must trust but verify. As we continue on final, we must continue to scan not only our runway, but the area around our runway. Those of you that are backcountry pilots know that just because you're going to land on a grass strip doesn't mean you can be safe to land on that grass strip, because maybe a deer, a coyote, or some other obstacle might suddenly appear on that runway. And just because we're landing at a major metropolitan airport doesn't mean it's safe to do so just because ATC said so. In the end, we all have to remember, trust but verify. ATC is our friend and they're there to help. But they too make mistakes, as do we. So we all must cover each other's back and trap our errors. Thank you for listening. Fly safe, tailwinds, and I'll see you all out there.
Don't forget your trophies. Hugo Boss. All shades, all colors, shapes, and sizes.